The White House says talks between Vice President JD Vance and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi yielded significant progress in trade negotiations. New Delhi is seeking to strike an early deal to avoid Trump's additional tariff hikes. White House correspondent Akayla Gardner is with the Vice President on his four-day trip to India, and she joins us now from Jaipur. Akayla, good to have you with us. And just before coming on the air, you were telling us how chaotic this trip has been. How busy has the schedule been, and what's been achieved?
Well, the first leg of this trip was Vice President Vance in Italy, where he had somewhat of a Catholic pilgrimage. He is someone who converted to Catholicism in his 30s. He was baptized in 2019. He met privately with Pope Francis and became the first, or the last world leader, I should say, to meet with the Pope before his death on Monday. And so that was a hugely significant moment for the vice president. Also here in India, his wife visited a Hindu temple. So this has really been a trip both characterizing the president on a political stage, but also a personal stage. And that is not something that we have seen him yet to do. And that is something huge to watch, particularly because in the U.S. and among Republicans, he continues to be favored as a potential successor to President Donald Trump. So this is certainly a trip that is sort of painting him as a world leader and putting him on the world stage.
Yeah, so we're seeing a little bit of soft power being exercised here as well. But there's a business end to this trip also in terms of, well, negotiating something on the trade side. There was an intention to have the first tranche of a U.S.-India trade deal stitched up by the end of the year. What sort of progress might we anticipate on that front?
Well, the headline out of that meeting with Prime Minister Modi and Vice President Vance was, of course, this agreement to terms of reference, as they put it in the statement, for an ultimate bilateral agreement. And the way that Vice President Vance's office really characterized this is the last domino to fall, really, for a broader agreement. So this is huge, particularly because it seems that India might be the first, if not one of the earliest countries to really secure that first step. And the Trump administration has really been talking about India amongst this group of countries that it's been prioritizing. It's prioritizing major trading partners, in their words, which also includes South Korea, Japan. And this is a huge win for Modi because he has really laid the groundwork in order to achieve a deal far before President Trump threatened to put a 26% hike. We saw them meet at the White House in February, and we saw Modi remove some tariffs on things like Harley-Davidson motorcycles, Kentucky bourbon, really popular American products that he has put these high levies on. And he was anticipating that this could potentially be the result of President Trump's threats about tariffs and trade, and that, of course, ultimately was. And so they're hoping to avoid these completely, but we still don't know yet what will be the ultimate percentage that these two countries agree with.
Akayla, how much has China loomed in the background of these conversations, given that, of course, it's no secret that Washington wants New Delhi as a partner in pushing back against China?
Well, this has really been an effort that has really preceded President Donald Trump. It is something that President Joe Biden also wanted to do, was to create a closer partnership with India as a bulwark to China. That relationship was really more complicated with President Biden because of India's ties with Russia, continuing to buy Russian oil exports. And yet it seems a lot different under President Donald Trump, who, of course, is trying to end the war in Ukraine and has a much better relationship when it comes to President Putin. And so it seems that these two countries are sort of on that parallel track once again in hopes of really creating a closer partnership when it comes to trade and economic priorities.